and I had no idea how I was going to run 4 more marathons, 104 more miles in 4 days. But I took it a step at a time. I sat up, put my legs on, made my way out of the RV, and when I opened the door to the RV, there were 75 people just standing there waiting for me to emerge from the RV, and they clapped. And a mom came up to me and she said, "Thank you for doing this. My son has been following your journey this whole time. He's here to run with you today." And then a Marine came up to me that I'd never met before, and he said, "Hey, brother, thanks for doing this and showing what veterans are capable of, what we're all about." And, in that moment, I thought about what Pam said to me, doing permanent damage, being able to play with the kids 5, 6 years. And then I remembered what these people said, and I had a couple other conversations just like them. And I made the decision I was going to have to take that risk.
What an adventure that you have lived, so much life that you have lived so far.
And a lot to go, hopefully.
A lot to go. Wow. So Kate Bayes here, hosting Rob Jones. I just was so amazed by your story that I was really excited to have you on here today. And
Thanks.
the whole premise of what I'm doing is just talking with people like you, organizations that I think the world needs to know about, people I think the world needs to know about. So every month I'm trying to feature someone awesome, something awesome. And I think that's you, Rob.
Thank you.
You're a veteran. Your story is just tremendous. I mean, thank you right off the bat for your service.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
I'm just in awe of you. So let's start at the beginning. Talk about your calling to the military. And I think that's really, like, I have your website going across the bottom here. Folks, please go check out his website and just follow Rob's journey. It's amazing. But I'm going to let him tell you, like, beginning to end here, because amazing stuff.
Yeah, so I joined the Marine Corps in 2006, and I was actually a junior at Virginia Tech, trying to study computer science, but actually not doing very well at it all. I was kind of failing. And I just kind of had this period of my life where I wasn't doing well in college, wasn't a good student. I felt lonely. I didn't have very many friends, and I felt isolated and just kind of down about myself. And serendipitously, my best friend had joined the Marine Corps the year before, and I don't know, I just got curious about what he was going to be up to. So I went down to the library and got out the first book about the Marine Corps I could find. And it was this book called Brotherhood of Heroes about the Battle of Peleliu in World War II.
Okay.
And just from reading that book, it struck a chord with me. It showed me what I was missing, courage, brotherhood, selflessness, things like that. And so I figured the best way for me to find those things and fix myself was to go join the Marine Corps and try and go to war.
Oh, I mean, they're just, that's not, everyone doesn't feel that way, just the fact that you felt that so deeply within yourself. There's something else in the world that I should be doing. I'm missing something. And you found it in that brotherhood and in service,
Yeah. I mean, up to that point, I didn't have a tribe, as they say these days. I didn't have a greater purpose beyond just kind of seeking my own self-interest. And, that can sustain you for a while, but I had gotten to a point where it was no longer sustaining me. And so I needed to go find those pieces that I was missing. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but the way that I decided to do it was by joining the Marine Corps.
That's such a soul-searching age. It seems,
that
everyone's trying to figure out who they are, who they're going to be in college, but not everybody, picks that path. It's just it's a very remarkable, honorable, path. And that you had a friend to go do it with too was, that in itself was, you had a buddy system.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, that first idea of what you should be doesn't really work out, because I was pretty positive when I was a freshman at Virginia Tech that I was going to be a video game programmer, because that's what I wanted to do. And didn't work out that way. Or, I didn't have what it took at that point to make it work out. So I had to go find something else.
And the something else you found, you had a way bigger impact to make on this world than playing some video games.
Yeah, I don't think helping on the next Call of Duty would have been quite as impactful.
Right? Oh, okay. So tell us about your job, your role in the military, and how that has led to who you are now.
Quickly, my job was just to clear safe routes through areas that we expected to have a high likelihood of containing improvised explosive devices.
Right.
So the little basically landmines that a lot of service members step on, and the main tool that the Taliban and Al Qaeda and all those guys were using. So we would come up to an area where we thought would have one in it, and I would go through first with my metal detector and try and find a clear route, then mark that route for everybody else to then go through and then continue on with our patrol or whatever our mission was.
To say thank you for your service just doesn't even do it justice. Like, that was your job to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love doing it because it allowed me to be the first line of defense for my fellow Marines, for my brothers, and it allowed me to make a sacrifice on their behalf. And so I love doing it, and I wouldn't change a thing about the job that I took.
Oh, Rob. Did you pick? Do you get to pick? Do you get to select
Um,
what, or do
Sort
you get
of.
placed? How does that work?
It depends on what recruiter you talk to and what the
Mhm.
situation is. I didn't really select that job when I joined. I joined as a reservist because my plan was to finish college, which I did finish college, and
Okay.
my plan was to apply to officer candidate school after I finished college. So I joined as a reservist.
Okay.
I never went to officer candidate school because my unit kept taking volunteer platoons to go to Iraq and Afghanistan. But it just so happened that the reserve unit that was close to Blacksburg was a combat engineer unit, so I got I got a combat engineer billet, and it just so happens that that unit, their specialty was things like obstacles, landmine emplacement, landmine defeat, and so that job of IED defeat kind of fell naturally to us.
Okay. All right. So which tour of duty, and when the accident happened, or and I'm using the term accident, but I mean, what? How do you
Oh,
quantify
I
that?
just call it injury.
Injury.
It wasn't necessarily an accident on. I don't know. It's a fine way to describe it, but it was my second tour. I did the tour in Iraq in 2008,
Mhm.
and my second tour is to Afghanistan in 2010, sang in Afghanistan.
Okay. So tell us what happened that day, if you don't mind, and
Yeah,
just
sure.
yeah.
So we were on a mission, and my our point man stepped on an IED,
Hmm.
and luckily the IED malfunctioned. Sometimes that does happen. They're not put together correctly, or something happens so that it malfunctions, and so just the
Oh,
blasting cap went off. So a little firecracker went off, and the main charge of that particular IED didn't explode. But where there's one IED, there's going to be two, probably three, maybe even four, because they like to cluster them together.
hmm,
Because they know when one person steps on one, then all of their friends come and try and help them. So the idea is this guy steps on it, and then the helpers come, they step on that one, so they cluster them together in that way.
okay,
And so basically that became an area that had a very high likelihood of containing an IED. So then it
yeah,
became my responsibility to guide us through that area. And I was in the process of doing that when I stepped on the secondary, and that resulted in double above knee amputations. I was unconscious for about 20 seconds, and I woke up, and it's a lot like what you would expect. A lot of screaming, a lot of blood,
yeah.
people rushing over to me. They put me on a stretcher, and they carried me to a tank that was waiting nearby. And that's when the corpsman gave me enough morphine to make me go unconscious, and then um, the tank went and met a helicopter, and the helicopter took me to a field hospital.
Oh, Rob. So from there, you have made this experience in your life into something so big and powerful, and what you're doing now to impact everyone else's life because of what happened to you is just amazing to me. So tell us about your journey since then, since all of that.
Yeah, well, when I joined the Marine Corps, I had a path for myself. I had a path towards courage, brotherhood, and selflessness, the
Mhm.
pieces that I was missing when I was in college. And the Marine Corps gave me that path, and that
Yeah,
mission, the mission of the Marine Corps, of what we were doing at that point, put me on that path, a path towards those qualities. And so when I stepped on the IED, that path kind of went away, because I couldn't really deploy in the Marine Corps in the way that I was anymore. I couldn't go and find IEDs anymore. So I had to go in search of a new path. But I still had that mission. My mission in life was still to have courage, brotherhood, selflessness, live a
Right.
meaningful life and live an enjoyable life, live a life that made an impact. And so, for the next year and a half in recovery and physical therapy, I spent all that time kind of regaining the tools that I needed, learning how to walk and move myself around, becoming independent, becoming self-confident, all these various things that I thought I needed and other things that I thought I might be able to use, like learning how to ride a bike, learning how to run with prostheses, learning how to row. I just tried to learn everything that I possibly could so that when the time came for me to retire, I could then select something to try and go in search of that new path. And the first thing I tried was rowing. And so that resulted, I trained for 9 months with my rowing partner
Okay.
from December 2011 to September 2012. And, we won a bronze medal in the Paralympics. That was
Nice.
step one.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you want me to go. I could probably
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
on for hours and hours at this point.
Well, okay. So I know you got into biking.
Yeah.
And I know you got into running, and you've been across the country and back,
Mhm.
and that's all you're on a mission here. This is all you're very driven about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Mhm.
And let's talk about that.
Yeah, so like I said, I was in search of that new path, and so I
Yeah.
tried rowing, but I won a bronze medal, and when I won the bronze medal, I kind of feel like that was the point at which I had regained my self-confidence and my self-reliance, and I was,
Good.
kind of basically back to where I had been before my injury.
Mhm.
But I didn't feel like I had found my path because the whole time I was rowing, I just kind of felt like something was still missing, and I couldn't find the greater purpose and the greater meaning in rowing besides just, winning a
Really?
race
Yeah. Yeah.
and sort of just seeking glory for myself. And so, like I said, that I was seeking selflessness, courage, brotherhood, something that made a difference in the world. So I didn't feel like those qualifications were being fulfilled with rowing. But I should say that is, not only did I win a bronze medal in London, but I also met my beautiful wife, Pam,
Yay.
at the games. A couple of days we were both out celebrating. She had won a gold medal in rowing, and I had won a
Nice.
bronze medal. So we were both out celebrating, and we met.
Meant to be.
Um, yeah, meant to be. And she's from England, so we spent 4 years in long distance relationship, which you could do a whole other live session on. But
Yeah.
I hadn't found my path in rowing, so I needed to go in search of something else.
Mhm.
And one of the things I was most proud of in physical therapy was learning how to ride a bicycle again as a double above knee amputee, which
Mhm.
hadn't been done by any double above knee amputee that came through Walter Reed, and in fact, to my knowledge, had only been done by one other double above knee amputee named Rudy Garcia Tolson,
Wow.
and he was kind of my model in that.
Yeah.
So it was like me and him were the only ones that could really do it, and so I figured if I rode my bike across the country, that could be a way back to that path. And so I did one more season of rowing while I planned my bike ride, and started in Bar Harbor, Maine in October of 2013, and rode through the winter all the way down to Camp Pendleton, California. I kind of went from Bar Harbor to Richmond, Virginia, then straight across to San Francisco, and then down the coast, down the PCH, ending in Camp Pendleton near San Diego
Mhm.
in April of 2014. And I was also trying to raise money for veteran charities, and we ended up raising 125,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, the things that I'm hearing, and it's amazing because I was literally thinking selfless, and you said it out loud. Um, just when you go through something like this, and obviously I've never been through what you have been through, but everyone has their thing. Everybody has, something to deal with in their life, and how
Mhm.
when you turn your strife into, you know, something, when you find a greater mission, when you find a way to be selfless throughout it and to turn it around and to be grateful for what you do have
Mhm.
instead of focusing on the negative, how you can change your life, how you can change your outlook, how you are changing other people's lives because you're not sitting at home focusing on woe is me, and the you have made it part of your life mission now to show people, I got this. I'm still on the road. I'm still on my journey. Come along
Mhm.
with me.
Yeah, I mean, I always I feel it's my philosophy that the the best way to overcome anything and achieve anything in life is to do it on behalf of somebody or a cause or a group of people or a place that you care about more than yourself.
Yeah.
To the point that you'd be willing to put your life on the line for them. I mean, think about there's countless examples of this. Think about the story about a mother facing a polar bear,
Right.
or people lifting cars off of each other, or walking through minefields on behalf of each other. So I feel like if you can figure out what the people that you care about more than yourself, what they need from you,
Mhm.
and how you can help them, then that kind of gives you a path, or it gives you the strength to overcome any particular challenge in the moment, or a large challenge like losing your legs or various things.
Mhm.
It gives you that's what gives you the strength to be able to overcome these difficult challenges, and it also gives you the strength to chase your dreams.
Yeah.
See that it could be possible for you to quit your job and go start the business that you've been wanting to start. It can help you get over that fear,
Yeah.
and it can sustain you when times get difficult during that journey as well.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I'm really thinking in listening to you is that we're not alone. We're
Mm,
really all in this journey together. Everybody is rowing at a different speed or a different size boat or on a different body of water, but
mm.
we are all literally just getting through this life together. And the more, you focus on selfless acts and making it more about others and less about yourself, the more, we bond through all of this and make it through together.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done anything. All the stuff that I've mentioned that I've done so far is I didn't do any of it alone. I had
Yeah.
teams.
Right.
I had a team
Right.
of Marines save my life. I had a team of medical professionals helping me recover. I had a team of coaches and a rowing partner when I was rowing.
Yep.
I had a team of volunteers helping me organize the bike ride. My little brother drove a U-Haul box truck behind me the entire time at
Oh.
10 miles an hour for 6 months. So we all have a team, and it's not even just doesn't just have to be the people that we know personally or the people that we know
Right.
in our lives.
Yes.
I never met Rudy Garcia Tolson when I started to learn how to ride a bike, but he was the model for me. And
Yes.
so he was, in a way, a part of my team because I looked up to him. He was acting as a model. He was showing me what was possible just by being himself, even though I didn't really know him personally. I ended up meeting him, of course, eventually. But we all have things like that. And a person from history can be on your team. Like the
Yes.
Marines that I read about in Brotherhood of Heroes, they were on my team because they kind of showed me the way in that regard. So you don't necessarily have to know somebody personally in order for them to influence you, in order for them to help you, in order for them to show you what's possible, show you the way. But yeah, nobody does anything alone. Um, and it's my philosophy that when you ask somebody for help, in a way, you're doing them a favor. You're doing somebody a favor by letting them do you a favor, by letting them
Yes.
help you. Because I
Yes.
don't know about you, Kate, but I love helping my friends. I love helping my family.
Yep.
And when they ask me for help, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel
Yes.
great about myself that I was able to contribute. And I think a lot of the time, people feel like when you ask somebody for help, you're burdening them. And yeah, you're asking them to do something they wouldn't have been doing, but I think it makes them feel good. And so I've kind of come to learn that when you ask for help, you're almost in a way helping somebody else by letting them help you, and that's kind of my philosophy.
I like that. That's so true. We're all called to serve,
Mm,
and you're just providing an opportunity and then giving an opportunity to build a relationship. It's a win-win all the way around.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Oh, so tell us about what you're doing now. Now you speaking engagements
Mhm.
and things like that.
Yeah, well, after I did the bike ride across the country, I did my month
Mm.
of marathons challenge where I ran 31 marathons in 31 days in 31
Phew.
different cities around the country, just to continue that fundraising, continue that greater purpose.
Uh-huh.
And just to create a story about a veteran that, went overseas and experienced a terrible trauma and came back and thrived from it instead of being destroyed by it. And what
Right.
I'm doing now is trying to use this story in order to help people. This story that I kind of built over the last 10, 12 years. Now I'm trying to use that story to help as many people as I can. So I do that through doing things like this, through speaking engagements, through social media, through
Hmm.
writing. Writing a memoir. So all
Oh,
these
good.
different things, just trying to get that story out there as much as possible. Just in the same way that the story of Rudy Garcia Tolson, the story of Terry Fox, the story of those Marines on Peleliu helped me. I want my story to be able to help other people.
It is. I mean, it
Thank
already is.
you.
I I have heard about you from a friend of mine, and just, I mean, your story drew me in, and I couldn't wait to meet you. I couldn't wait to talk with you. I couldn't wait to be an avenue for you to share your story, because I mean, it's insurmountable odds, and you just defy every one of them. You're
Appreciate it. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
you're amazing. It's great to see. So what advice would you give um college aged people who are in that in that time where you were trying to decide, what am I going to do? Who am I going to be? I feel a deeper need.
Mm.
What would you say to those people?
It's a time period that really takes a lot of introspection and a lot of honest thought, a lot of
Mhm.
honest question asking of yourself, and a lot of honest answering. So I would say first you need to be truthful with yourself,
Mhm.
accept the reality of your situation, whatever the case may be. Don't lie to yourself about it. Accept how you feel and what you want, or maybe you don't know what you want or whatever. But the first step is to accept the situation and really be honest with yourself about what you have, what you need, what you want, and then find a way to
Yes.
pursue that.
Yes.
And when times get tough, think about the selflessness side of it, about what's going to be best for those that you care about the most, how you can help them by being successful, and that's what's going to sustain you through the difficult periods. And just don't stop searching until you find that thing that that resonates with you, that fills all the criteria that you seek in life.
So, call to action. What can we all do to help you do what you're doing?
Just repeat the story. I mean, to help me do what I'm doing, yeah, just repeat this story as often as you can. Tell people about it, because the more that story, I think, the more my story gets out there, the more people are going to see it at the right time when they need to
Mhm,
see it, or they're going to
mhm.
have it already in their head for when something comes later on in life. It's always good to have these types of stories available to you to just be able to know that you can get through something. If somebody else has gotten through something, then you can probably do it too. And you can read my story, and a lot of the times you'll probably get the life lessons that you need out of it just from reading the story.
It's true.
So yeah, I mean that's what I would ask people to do if you want to do something for me. Tell my story as many times as you can, in hopes that it'll help somebody else.
So on your site, Rob, if people want you to be a speaker at their engagement, they can find out all the information there?
Yeah, you just click a
Okay.
button and you email me, or I think I just have my email address, robjonesjourney@gmail.com. It's just on my website. You can just send me an email, or contact me through Instagram, which is at Rob Jones Journey, and LinkedIn is at Rob Jones Journey. So
Right.
contact me in any of those places.
Okay. Okay. And then if we want to help support the veterans that you're helping to support, what you mentioned fundraising, how
Mhm.
can we help there too?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different ways to help veterans. One way that you can do that is by donating to the various nonprofits that exist. Semper Fi Fund, Tunnel to Towers Foundation are two of my favorites.
Okay.
Travis Manion Foundation. All these, they all have different things that they do. Um, but also just get to know a veteran that's local to you. Get to know them.
Right.
Realize that every veteran, while we have a lot of qualities in common, we're all individuals. We all have our own personalities and thoughts and things like that. So I would just say, get to know that veteran that's in your local, and that's in your community, that's in your environment, and see what you can do to help them personally.
Okay. Sounds good. Lots of ways to help, lots of information for us to check out.
Hmm.
We appreciate you sharing your story with us. I mean, you truly are, and you saw the comment from Russell, an
Yeah, thanks,
inspiration.
Russell.
I mean, your selflessness, and just again, thank you for your service and for continuing to be such a beacon. You truly are. I mean, check out Rob's website, everybody, and really get a deeper dive into everything he has there.
Well, it has been and continues to be my honor and my pleasure to be of service. And thanks for having me here to help me share my story. And thanks everybody for listening,
Oh, thank you
watching.
very much. We appreciate you. So, folks, if you have a story or a nonprofit, or you know someone who does, please reach out to me, because, like I said, I'm trying to do this once a month, just highlighting a nonprofit or someone who is just amazing. And I want to make sure that the world knows about them. So reach out. And Rob, you have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Bye.